All right. Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. My brothers and sisters over at YouTube, Pastor Dowell. Listen, y'all heard me talk about this before in the past, and I'm going to revisit this again. And what I'm revisiting again is the truth about the marriage license. Now, I got an article, but not only an article, a court case right here. And I want everybody to really, truly just listen to me. Listen. There are some things, and I'm going to talk about some good and bad, but there are some things in his life that if you don't know how to navigate it, if you're not financially, physically responsible, it'd probably be better for you to saddle up with the system. Because one thing that the marriage license affords, it affords you being in contract and in covenant agreement with the state over your marriage. If you want to call it a perk, it's a perk to some. They get to tell you when and what to do, how, and they get to tell you if you can or cannot dissolve it. They also are a rewarder of the fruit that comes from the marriage, meaning your children. Now, because you're part of the American Roman state, if your main breadwinner, the man, the husband, passes away, then the state takes care of your children up until 18 years old. If you got 3 or 4 children, you probably get $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and your husband probably wasn't even making that much. But that's what you could probably get if you do that. But if you are financially and physically responsible, you don't have to worry about all that because you're already making moves for your family to stay free of the system. And I'll tell people over and over again, man, we don't understand what really truly is going on whenever we just go and do what everybody else has always done and don't even think about it. All right, so let me give you an example right here. I'm going to read this on the marriage license. Then I'm going to go to another article that goes in depth because this is information we need to know. Now, if you have a spouse that you know that they're sick and there's a possibility that their time is short, I've informed people, I cannot tell you how many times, sometimes 6 months to a year in advance to go get the marriage license so that you can leave something for your children. But a lot of times people don't do what I say, but nevertheless, hallelujah. Now, would I get one with the information that I know? No, I wouldn't. Do I need one? No. Does my Haitians need one? No, they don't need one. We have a right, according to public law, to private contracts. All right? Agreements within our own self. Covenants is what we do in Israel. But I want y'all to listen to this. Listen to this real close. All right? So it says, Final Judgment Civil Orders, April 11th, 2014. When you apply for the marriage license, a private for-profit franchise of the United Nations doing business as the state of whatever state you're from, claim a custodial ownership interest in your marital relationship and the product resulting from it on the basis of your own signature. This entity selectively claim to own you, your wife, and your children as chattel. Can you believe that? Chattel. According to them, when you apply for the marriage license, the nature of the marriage contract changes and becomes a civil contract. Marriage is a civil contract to which there are 3 parties: the husband, the wife, and the state. Van Kelton versus Van Kelton, 154 NE 146. Now, watch this. Did you ever intend to give a foreign privately owned corporation merely calling itself the state of Tennessee or whatever, permission to distribute your assets in a divorce? And that's what they do. They take it over to force as if you don't have a will and if you don't have your ducks in order. Your assets in a divorce and to force you to pay alimony and child support or to seize custody of your minor children under armed force. Were these results of signing a marriage license ever disclosed to you by the state? Did the state disclose its identity and nature as a franchise of a foreign for-profit privately owned corporation? No, you never read any of that. Were you ever required to have a marriage license to be lawfully married? But was that fact ever fully disclosed to you by the state? We think not. I don't care what you do. When you go in the military, they're going to go with the state documents, and they're not going to honor anything but the state documents. There's a lot of things you're going to do unless you're part of the system. Ain't nobody going to honor you. Now, can you navigate around it? Yeah, you're going to navigate around it with pain because everything is so against you actually doing that which is lawful and right. I tried to turn a little light on since the sun went down. Well, that which is lawful and right. And those I said lawful and right. Did y'all hear what they just got finished saying? They own you as the husband, your wife, and your children, and your all chattel. But not only that, I'm going to go in depth into the actual document itself. And I want y'all to read, I want y'all to listen to this real good. All right? The document itself says, make sure I get it. Okay, let's go to this one. Marriage is a civil contract to which there are three parties, which you just heard. This is actually coming from the court case itself. The husband, the wife, and the state, and it is regarded as the status based upon public necessity and controlled by law for the benefit of society at large. Leland versus Leland, 319, Illinois, 426. One of the contractual obligations of the marriage contract is the duty of the husband support the wife. See, that's the reason why men constantly gets hit with child support, spousal support, because it's the duty and responsibility of the husband as the wife. Even if you dissolve the contract, they still look at that woman as your wife, even if you divorce her. That's why you have to keep sending money to her. Now you can go get another one, do serial polygamy, divorce, remarriage, divorce, remarriage, divorce, remarriage, and divorce, remarriage, like a lot of people do in the United States, but it can get pretty pricey doing things that way. But here it is. This is the reason why when you go into these court systems and stuff, you don't know this law, and hey, they're telling you what you're getting ready to be up against. One of the contractual obligations of the marriage contract is the duty. You hear that? All right. Of the husband to support the wife, and this contractual obligation cannot be abrogated without the consent of the third party. You know what that third party is? The state. In other words, you as a husband or wife, y'all cannot say, we're divorced, we dissolved the union, or we're finished, or we're done, or something like that. The state, which is the primary chief authority and owner of this contractual agreement, they are the ones can decide yay or nay whether you get divorced or how much child support you're going to pay as a man. The state, husband and wife may contract with each other as to their mutual property rights, but the husband cannot by contract either before or after marriage relieve himself of the obligation imposed upon him by law to support his wife. Did you hear what I just got finished saying? Did you hear that, honey? Did you see? And that's the reason why these men, when they go out and get these state marriage licenses, man, you finish, because none of these terms are disclosed to you when you're signing that contract. You don't get to read no fine print because there is no fine print. It's what's behind the big print that they don't ever disclose, because a lot of sane people, if they read this, they'll be like, let me read that part to you again. Let me read it. I'm going to read it again. Watch this part right here. The state, okay, husband and wife may contract with each other as to their mutual property rights, but the husband cannot by contract, he cannot by contract, again, he cannot by contract, either before or after marriage, relieve himself of the obligation imposed upon him by law to support his wife. See, they still view that woman as your wife. So no matter how many times that you people out here keeps talking about, well, I only got one man and one woman. Not if you've been married 3-4 times. Look at Donald Trump. That man got what, 5-6 children, 3 wives, 3 baby mamas, and That's just America. See, but what they do is they dress it up and say that polygyny is wicked and all that and sinful. You got a lot of people calling sin that the Bible doesn't even call sin. You got a lot of people calling stuff unrighteous because it's based on their personal preference and their opinion. Has nothing to do with truth. Has to do all with what they say and what they believe and what they receive or what they reject. But I mean, that is so shocking. I'm going to read that one more time so it can sink in, and then we're going to move on in this contract right here. See, this is the stuff you don't get to read. But look what it says. The state, husband, and wife may contract with each other as to their mutual property rights, but the husband cannot, by contract, either before or after marriage, relieve himself of the obligation imposed upon him by law to support his wife. And a contract between husband and wife, one of the material possessions of which is that the husband shall be relieved of the obligation imposed upon him by law to support his wife, is illegally and void of being contrary to public policy. Lyons versus Schubacher, Supra, whatever that means. Oh, come on now. In the instant case of one of the marital possessions or the agreement was, the said party of the second part hereby releases all claims, rights, titles, or interests to the party of the first party from making any claim of support or maintenance in any manner from the party of the first. This provision was manner from the party of the first. The provision was not only a material one, but as stated in the agreement, it was one of principal objects of the agreement. The agreement was therefore contrary to the public policy and void, and the court cannot therefore place its sanction upon it and affirm a decree which finds it to be valid and binding agreement. Well, in other words, man, now y'all see the reason why nothing ever goes your way. Nothing ever goes your way. I think I don't have any advice, to tell you the truth. I'm just trying to do what I can to make sure we warn everybody what you should be doing. And of course, you can do what you want to do. But now you know the reason why you have no authority over your wife, no authority over your children. The state, the third party contractual agreement, I keep telling you, they don't want the sole authority over you, your wife, and your children. And if they're ever going to try to drag you in the court and you ain't got no marriage license or something like that, then you got to go find the most wickedest lawyer that you can that can rip this system apart. And believe me, there are some, I hate to say this, it sounds like an oxymoron, but it's true. There are some good, wicked lawyers. I'm telling you, there's some good ones out there. Very few and far in between. And you're going to have to pay up for that too. So you can't say that you don't know, especially if you listen to the truth, and the truth here straightway. Hey, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Oh, and by the way, somebody asked me about my vitamin regimen. So I got some garlic right here. I got some oregano oil right here. And then I take this bag of pills, spirulina, D3, K2 magnesium, probiotics, and some ashwagandha. Then for dinner or lunch, I take this bag right here. Hallelujah. And it's called supplementation because of the type of food that we deal with in this world. Has been nutritionally depleted so much that it's hard for you to get the right amount of nutrients and vitamins and minerals within your food. So it's called supplementation or supplementing. Anyway, gave y'all a little tidbit. Y'all have a blessed day. King coming.